You're offering 0. These guys are offering 1.75. Which house do you think they're going to show first? They're going to show Nestor's at 2.5%.
Well,
right? I mean, so
Yes,
we can
but
try
It's
it.
simply less of a hassle. Well, let's negotiate the commission over here, and the next thing you know, the seller's going to end up worse off.
But
Yeah.
we've got to look at the other side of that as our fiduciary duty of that commissions can't come into play of what homes we're showing or not showing, because now we're starting to get into steering and things of that nature. I don't think the commission.
But you don't have to look at it like that, Nestor. I have a buyer's representation
Right.
agreement. They're not offering a commission, so buyer, you're going to have to buy it now. They'll be like, well, I really did like that other one across the street more.
Got your new daily planner there for
Yeah, I
2024.
picked it up.
All right. Are you going to put anything in it?
I picked it up, and then at the same time I picked it up, I'm like, I can just do it on my phone.
Right.
But Gabby's got one, and so she's like, here, look at my November. I'm like, oh, wow, I was pretty busy.
So,
It was pretty, so I picked it up.
all right.
And I do pick one every year, and don't fill it out every year. But this year, things are different.
Well,
24,
we were
24.
talking earlier, and you
Yeah.
were talking about the fact that you got your
Yeah.
marketing plan
Yeah.
all put together for
Yeah.
2024. By the way, we have not done an introduction yet or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, Alex,
Yeah.
say hello.
Oh, hey, everyone. Hey, I'm honored to be here with these two guys right here. It's always a pleasure.
We got Travis
pleasure.
Barron.
Yeah.
And so far, Nestor, and so far we haven't talked about a darn thing yet versus calendar. But this is topic number one. And Travis, for you, are you a digital, or are you because this is actually pretty important. There are a lot of people we're planning on 2024. There's a lot of goal setting going on right now. You go online right now and everything is digital. You were talking about pulling out your phone earlier.
Yeah.
What's more productive for people? Actually in writing or digital? And I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah. Were you asking me or Travis?
Either one.
I mean, I've been using my calendar a lot more on my phone.
Okay.
I do enjoy writing notes when I'm talking to somebody, and then then I'll make notes in my CRM or whatever
Gotcha.
it is. But I definitely like to, this is going to be new to. But again, like I said, I picked it up right now. I just unwrapped it.
Okay.
And I'm like, are they really going to use that? Because I got to carry this around everywhere with me, pretty much. Or I can carry this.
You don't have to.
I don't have to.
Yeah, it depends, because I have one on my desk, and
Yeah.
when I'm at the desk, I like to see it open and I like to see things in front of me.
Yeah.
And now on the flip side, for me, when it's electronic, those reminders, ping,
Yeah.
ping the phone, and so I get my reminders. So
Yeah.
I tend to miss less things when it's on my phone. So,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
Travis,
going to put reminders on mine. I've never done that. My phone doesn't ping at me, but I'm all digital.
okay. How does your phone not ping on you?
Because I didn't think of it. I just need to switch that setting.
Notifications or
But you're in
something.
you look at your calendar often.
Every
the
day.
computer.
Every
Okay.
day.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things that it has not become a routine for me. So if I'm not reminded, if that ping doesn't come, sometimes it's like, woo.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it's lost in the wherever it goes.
All right.
Cyberspace.
So here's my first question for 2024. So far this year, 2023, here are the numbers. So far in 2023, 60,000 people have left this industry in the real estate business.
Wow.
I thought it was more. I thought I heard 100, but
Is that nationwide?
That is nationwide.
Oh, wow.
2020
I mean, are those ones that have officially left?
officially left.
Okay, so a lot more have checked out.
A lot more have checked out. But the numbers are coming in and predictions are coming in for 2024. The predictions right now, Inman, they dropped their prediction at 250,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a fifth, 20% maybe?
About, yeah, that's about. So, thoughts? I think that number's conservative, personally.
I think so too. Because I think a lot of people are going to be forced to retire.
Okay.
Some are gonna want to retire.
Okay.
Then you have the new people that just didn't make it in the first 3 or 5 years.
Right.
Whatever, So, I hope it's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think that it's cyclical. I think that people always want to have the realtor's license and maybe be a realtor, maybe not. And I think as we move forward with all these lawsuits and everything, that could dramatically affect agent count.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know. I don't really have an opinion right now. I think it's definitely going to dip just
Okay.
because of the economy. Or what? Not the economy. Actually, the economy, I guess, is okay in many ways. But just the lack of transactions in the business.
Okay.
It's just not there to support the amount of people that are in the business.
Don't see it getting better anytime soon. I was looking at Yahoo News the other day, and their big media is all about that the market's going to crash, and we're going to see this big real estate market crash. I didn't check the sources or where they were getting that from, and I don't feel like that's going to happen, but it's in the headlines now. It's in the news. You combine that with NAR lawsuits and all of that stuff that's going on, and the lack of inventory and the higher interest rates, and
You got a lot of negative
Right.
information. In
this
there.
is where
As always,
Chicken
I
Little
think there's
goes
always-
across
yeah.
the.
I think it's always
The sky is
doomsday.
falling.
There's always all the doom and gloom in the media.
Mhm.
And so the way I've always operated, and it's like I just don't care. I don't listen to that noise because I just keep doing what I'm doing, keep marketing,
Right.
and keep going and keep picking up the phone. And that's really how simple it is.
Ex-
We were talking about how people just overcomplicate a lot of things.
Right.
And it's everything is like common sense, just right here in front of you.
Yep.
You don't have to like go too crazy and like it's crazy to me. I don't know.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah, seriously, it really is. That's just the way I've always done it. The way I will do it.
I like that message. And, you know, Travis and I were talking about this a little bit ago, and we were talking, it's been a little bit more of a difficult year. The numbers are definitely down, but we've seen some people have some magnificent years.
Yeah, a
Actually,
couple career years.
exactly, their best years ever. So are they doing anything different? Were the stars aligned just now perfectly?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be interesting to go back and kind of dig deep into their businesses and take a look and see, how much of it was just because of whether they made changes, whether things just all came in alignment and fell into place right at the right time for them, whatever it was. But there is business out there. I like the idea, and I like your thought of, hey, we just got to keep going out there and doing it, not caring about what the media is saying and things of that nature. There's a lot of talk going on in our industry, obviously, and I'm with you. I'm actually hoping that number is correct to the 250. I don't like. I'll tell you one of the things I don't like in this industry is we really need to work more at the integrity, the professionalism, and the things of that nature. And I feel like that barrier, that point of entry, is being so easy that's actually and. Selling one house can be lucrative to you in some areas, has enticed too many people to get into this business to treat it more like a hobby and not treat it like a business.
Sure.
Well, even our own industry, there was an article on Inman today. It said, side hustles from the market gets difficult. I'm like, I don't comment a whole lot of these articles, but I went down below and I wrote, if you have a side hustle, you're not a realtor.
Exactly. Right? So I'll bring up the next question, and Alex and I were talking about this earlier because you just mentioned the word realtor and with NAR and everything. Mm-hmm. Where do you see, Travis, I'll ask you, where do you see the future of NAR, these lawsuits, the things going on? And I know we're predicting probably far into the future by the time we get done with the appeals and all of that kind of stuff and the rest of the lawsuits as they make their days and the settlements and things like that occur. But is this the end of NAR?
That's an interesting question. I think they're all reflecting on themselves and what's going on and what their value is. Because I think they're a little concerned.
Right.
They're in the spotlight right now and not a real positive light.
Mm-hmm.
But I reflected on it also. I was asked to by the association. And, locally, we get a lot of value.
Okay.
That will absolutely belong to our local association. California, I think we get value.
Mm-hmm.
NAR, it's advocacy, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it starts to be questioned.
Right.
Maybe a law doesn't go the way you want to, and you find out NAR was on the other side of it, and you're like, oh my God. And they do provide value, but it's a little more distant.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things is like, okay, I'm going to dump all that. I just want to go to MLS only, or I want to do whatever. And hey, do what you may. But then I started thinking about it. If you lose wind forms alone, that's a CAR benefit.
Right.
That's like a $1,500 annual cost.
Yes.
So that's a huge benefit that they offer.
So I'll argue on the flip side, though, is if that were to go away as a benefit, something would come into play. Somebody else would drop these forms in there, or it's already happening. So we have Sky Slope all the forms are incorporated within Sky Slope, and you can get straight
The
there.
CAR forms? Okay. Oh, that's an interesting question.
I
All I
think
know is that Lone Wolf has got a huge hold on that stuff. And Lone Wolf's first question when they wake up every morning is, how can we get more money out of these things?
Right. Right.
So I don't know if there's going to be a change to that.
We can go back to the old school and just do the paper purchase contract.
There we go.
What was it?
Scan them and fax them.
Yeah.
There we go.
But I mean, overall, this is going to be such a long road.
Right,
you
right.
know? Nothing's going to happen overnight. Something big's going to happen. Another lawsuit was just filed right on Thanksgiving Day. So now we're at like six or seven across the nation.
I'm not even keeping track anymore.
You know, at some point they're going to have to get a hold of this, and they're going to have to consolidate and figure it out. And who knows what?
It's really interesting to me, right? Like all this stuff going on with all these lawsuits, and it's supposed to be like, for the sellers that took advantage of for paying the buyer's commission and stuff. But these attorneys, I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard it too, the attorneys are like, it's the same thing the attorneys do. And they're charging 30, 40, 50, if not 50% of all of the money. You know what I mean? They're getting all the money, and everybody's getting like $2,000, $2,500. Something like, you heard that, right? Something like that?
That's, I didn't like that analogy at first. I kind of heard it today, and I'm like, no, everyone knows. The attorney gets 40%.
Or
but
more.
Then you think, well, what's the settlement?
Yeah.
So the attorney could make $4,000?
No, he's making...
Or they can make $40 million.
Yeah.
So that, you're right. There's not a lot of clarity in that.
Yeah, and the thing, but they're making all the money, and they're it's just an easy lawsuit for them.
But I'm going to argue on the flip side, because that same job is very similar to ours. They're also spending all of the money, because all these things they're not getting paid ahead of time, and if they lose the lawsuit, they're just like us. If we don't make the sale, we're not making the money.
That's fair. Right.
So there is some risk involved on their part, and they've got some skin in the game. So
that doesn't really fly, because we're under the exact same scenario.
Well,
and they're still coming after us.
And they know it's a sure win, so that's why they probably did it in the first place.
Hey, perhaps the next lawsuit, class action, will be against the attorneys.
Well, here's an example of why I think it's going to take so long for these things to happen. Like if someone came to you today and they're like, or if someone came to me today and said, "Hey, Travis, we want to list our house with you." Fantastic. But we're just going to pay you your fee. What is your fee? 2.5%. Okay, great. But we're not going to offer a buyer's compensation. Oh, I would say, well, why not? Oh, well, we heard about the lawsuit in NAR, and we don't have to do that anymore. I go, okay, so there's some reality to that and some not.
True.
But let's have a conversation about this, all right?
Which is really what it's going to turn into.
I'd say, you'd have to walk through it and say, okay, here's what the playing field looks like if you offer that commission. Here's what the playing field looks like and how the players are going to potentially act if you don't. So what's in your best interest? I'd argue right now, 99.9% of the time, they're going to be like, yeah, let's put that commission out there.
Yeah.
And it's not because you have to entice someone, but someone has to be paid.
Right,
you have to compete in the market.
Yeah.
And so how you break that down and get to a point where everyone agrees that, no, we're going to have the buyers pay the commission.
Right.
I don't know how we get there. Certainly not in any reasonable amount of time.
Well, I think there's a couple of different factors that are involved in that whole thing. I mean, the second one, saw a news article that came through the stream, and they were talking about commissions in Southern California. 6% is gone and will no longer be the commissions. And I'm thinking, you're truly writing that in today's market where, I mean, we see 6% every now and then.
Yeah.
But that is by no means the norm. And the newspaper article was implying that that's the norm, and that's what we see all of the time, and it's going to change, and started to talk, it's going to be more like Europe and 4% commissions, and that. I'm like, we've been there for a while. And, as a matter of fact, we might have passed Europe already. We might be on the other side of it, but is it going to really affect a buyer's commission and a seller's commission, or do you think it's going to actually affect that total number of what the commission is, as far as like the percentage?
I think it's going to affect the buyer's commission, because I'm already seeing it. Like they're getting 1.75. Sometimes it's one. Sometimes it's like $500. Or it's crazy. I've seen the change already, even 0.
Yep.
And I'm okay with it, like, because I'm a typically listing agent, so I'm okay. I'm okay with it all, quite honestly, So
If you were a buyer's agent, would you
I'm
be
not.
okay?
So I'm not. And
But would you be okay
I
with
mean,
it?
I would have my buyer's premium like they're suggesting.
Okay.
However, I think like what Travis is saying is like if you break it all down, show the options to the seller, you potentially could say, well, okay, this house over here, Nestor's houses, they're offering
Right.
2.5%. You're offering 0. These guys are offering 1.75. Which house do you think they're going to show first? They're going to show Nestor's at 2.5%.
Well,
Right? I mean, so
Yes,
we can
but
try
It's
it.
simply less of a hassle.
Yeah, it's like
But it's easy. It's done. We know how it gets done. Well, let's negotiate the commission over here, and the next thing you know, the seller's going to end up worse off.
But
Yeah.
we've got to look at the other side of that as our fiduciary duty of that commissions can't come into play of what homes we're showing or not showing or helping or because now we're starting to get into steering and things of that nature. So I don't think the commission
But
should
you don't
play.
have to look at it like that, Nestor. I have a buyer's representation
Right.
agreement. They're not offering a commission, so buyer, you're going to have to buy it now. They'll be like, well, I really did like that other one across the street more.
right.
So, and which is where I think that the industry is going to change a whole lot more. I feel like we're going to definitely see buyer representation agreements coming more into play.
Which is great.
And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of states
Don't you
already
think
use
it's going
those.
to be a painful process?
No.
As right now, as people are trying to hang on and you try to write up a buyer's agreement that says you're going to get paid a certain amount of money when they're like, I can go ask 3 other people and they'll probably do it for 1%. You're going to have unscrupulous people that are doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
We've already got unscrupulous people that are, as a listing
And that's
agent-
without the pressure of a buyer's representation agreement on top of it.
Let me ask you this, Alex. As a listing agent, how often, and give me this number in a percentage, how often when on the buyer's side, when that transaction is closed, a good amount of that buyer's agent's commission is actually going to the buyer?
You never know. It could be 1%. It could be
No, not the amount of it. How often? If you sold 10 houses next week,
Yeah.
and there was 10 buyers agents on the other side, what percentage of those 10 buyers agents do you feel that a portion of their commission is going to be given to
I mean,
that
the first
buyer?
thing that popped in my head about 3 to 4.
Okay, 3 to 4, so almost 50%.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say.
I think it's more like 75.
Okay.
That's where I would.
Yeah,
Okay. They're already giving back. To,
already given the money.
yeah.
Whether it's just straight up, I want some of your commission, or
Yeah.
whether it's, hey, to get this deal done, we need $3,000 to
Well,
furnace. And
I think those are the kind of agents that need to be out of the business because they're not showing they're not
not
holding
showing
up
the
their
value.
value and
Exactly.
their expertise in the field. And like, I could save you money. I could save you a lot more money than this $3,000 or whatever it is.
Right.
In the long term of your 30 years in that house.
Okay.
And that's kind of the way I kind of go at it. But I like. It's crazy to me that people ask for cash from us, and like if you're an engineer, like, hey, we want half your check, or like for the month you're working on this thing. It's crazy.
Is it really that crazy?
I mean,
we
like,
talked about it earlier. Point of entry or point of barrier to get in this business. You get your,
Yeah.
we run into people all the time that barely speak English as a first. I don't want to say it as a first language. I'm not trying to be discriminatory here, but I've had situations where I can't understand the person on the other side of the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm not certain whether or not they understand me or understand the contract or understand what we're
The process.
Yeah. And we're adding all of this extra time just to make sure, are we really getting what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And is your client really understanding what they're involved with and what's happening here? And I'm not confident when I hang up that phone or, see them in person that we're all on the same page.
Right.
And that's not just language barrier. That's just general skill set of people
Right.
who don't know what they're
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
a good point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But, we take that and why not ask for the money? All you got to do is write up the list. All right, you just got to write it up for me, and you don't have to do anything else.
I think that the listing commissions are going to be pretty static. I don't see them eroding much at all.
I agree with that.
I already know that Redfin, he's like, they talk about their 1.5 or 1%, but there are all kinds of caveats to that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still like, I don't know about this. So they're trying to hit a bottom. They're trying to be the most affordable, right? With all their efficiencies because of technology and the internet, and they're struggling with it. So I think,
Are they profitable yet?
not as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. So
My
Whole
thought
different
is that
story,
the
but-
sellers are going to be open to continue how it has been to offer the commissions because
Yeah.
that's
Well,
my
it's
thought.
a
It's
tangible
like,
service.
yeah, I mean, it's
Oh,
like-
you mean for the buyers as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think for at
abs-
least a good while.
I-
But ultimately, maybe it turns into something where, buyers do have to negotiate.
and
the
that's
commission.
okay. Yeah.
I mean, they just do it up front.
Right.
And say, hey, this is the minimum I'm willing to work for. And they get a yes or they get a no, and then you're contractual and you move forward.
Maybe they'll feel the pain of long days on the market
Well-
without people showing or whatever, or
I think we're closer than we think to. I mean, I've been saying this for a while that the buyers agents commissions were going to be going away, and I think we're one really good market. As soon as our market shifts again and we go into a true traditional sellers market like we've had in the past, I think the majority of those listings coming up will have little to no commissions on the buyer side.
I think this year coming up is going to be that way.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing some out there. Yeah, I believe
just-
that.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
But I think they're going to start out that way. I believe because I think it's there's a lot of people that can say, hey, or come directly to the listing agent, right?
right.
And then that's dual agency. So then do you get, if there's zero commission, do you say, hey, Nestor, I need you to pay me to represent you? Or
As a
something?
listing agent?
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. As a listing
Yeah,
agent, there's no way.
Yeah.
Well, I know everyone writes it, right? I'll do it for 6%, but if I
Yeah.
represent both sides, I'll do it for 5%. And I like the guy in LA who said, why would I do that?
Right.
When I take on both sides,
Yeah,
my
it's double the
liability
work.
goes more than double.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
It's up.
I'll list it for 6%. If I represent both sides, I'm charging 7%.
Right.
And I think theoretically that's the reality.
Correct.
But that's what I hate about this is that this may pressure listing agents into saying, look, whether I'm representing one or two, it's 2.5%, 3%, whatever they're charging. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
And
I-
until you
and-
get stung, you don't understand how dangerous
Correct.
that is.
And that I wouldn't agree with. I personally, if somebody came to me and I would say, no, I can't help you 1st. As a buyer's agent, I'm sorry, you've got to go find.
or have your referral
representation
buyer's
or-
agent. So you can use any,
Exactly.
go make a deal with one of these agents to
Yeah.
write your offer for you.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Yeah.
that's probably the direction that I feel like or I see things going.
Yeah.
But now we have all the challenges of how's a buyer going to pay for it? First time buyers, they don't have enough money to pay a commission to a buyer. A lot of people are just theoretically against it. People may be for it, but they need to finance it. Well, right now, you can't do that on a government loan, right? Fannie Mae,
Correct.
Freddie Mac. So you can have all these fees, and if it says commission, they're going to bounce it out of the deal.
Right.
So is that going to kill a deal?
They're gonna go in and get seller credit to pay the buyer or the buyer's agent commission.
Which is going to be right back to where we started, just in a different form.
It's just
mean,
they're going to package it a little bit
Built
differently.
such
But
an efficient system. How do we maintain the efficiency of the system we have, yet not have a buyer's commission that is hidden or
okay. Well, I'm gonna change the subject, and I'll ask the same subject but different.
Good.
Different. Yeah, we're gonna beat up on somebody different.